Investigative reporter James Stratton is in the newsroom for us tonight.
And James, only one of the men they identified has child sex assault charges.
Investigative reporter James Stratton is in the newsroom tonight with a story that has shaken the quiet heart of Wisconsin. Only one of the men identified in the investigation faces child sex assault charges. But authorities say the larger picture is far more disturbing. Southeast Wisconsin has become an unexpected epicenter of child sex trafficking. And now the state stands at the forefront of America's battle against human exploitation. In a sweeping operation led by ICE Homeland Security investigations, federal agents executed one of the most extensive trafficking crackdowns ever seen in the Midwest. The September 25, 2025, raid in Manitowoc County led to 24 arrests, the rescue of multiple victims, and the dismantling of a transnational criminal network with ties stretching deep into Central America. This wasn't a simple immigration sweep, it was the result of a years-long intelligence-driven probe sparked by the courage of survivors who stepped forward to share their stories. Their bravery ignited a multi-agency operation involving 6 federal departments working in flawless coordination to strike at the core of a network that had long believed it was invisible. The message from federal authorities is unmistakable. There is no refuge for those who exploit the innocent, not in coastal cities, not along the borders, and not in the peaceful farmlands of Wisconsin. Manitowoc County, known for its tranquil lake shores, dairy farms, and close-knit families, seemed the least likely setting for such darkness. But investigators say those very qualities, trust, openness, and the illusion of safety, made it the perfect hiding place. Beneath the surface of small-town life, traffickers built a sophisticated operation that masked itself within Wisconsin's booming dairy industry. Victims, many of them children, were placed on farms posing as legitimate workers, yet behind that facade they endured stolen wages, controlled movements, and lives stripped of freedom. Among the arrested were repeat offenders who had previously been deported but re-entered the country illegally, including Jose Hilario Moreno Parcio of Honduras, charged with child sexual assault in May 2025 after his 2020 removal; Abraham Maldonado Almanza of Mexico, previously convicted of identity theft; and Roel Francisco Monroy Aranana of Honduras, with a history of traffic and hit-and-run violations. These were not lone criminals but key figures in a vast web that trafficked both humans and narcotics under the cover of rural normalcy. They lived among the community, worked on local farms, and ran small businesses, embedding themselves so deeply that few suspected the horror hidden in plain sight. What authorities uncovered was modern-day slavery concealed behind barns and back roads, a criminal empire thriving amid the calm routines of everyday American life, used to move victims undetected across borders and through communities. Another key figure, Roel Francisco Monroy Aranana of Honduras, had a criminal history that included multiple traffic offenses and a hit-and-run, yet he managed to blend seamlessly into small-town Wisconsin life. Together, these men were part of a highly organized system, capable of transporting victims and narcotics across the Midwest with chilling efficiency. Exploiting the region's vast highway network, the traffickers used Wisconsin's quiet rural charm as camouflage, interpreting trust and neighborliness not as virtues, but as vulnerabilities. To them, America's heartland wasn't a sanctuary, it was open territory. The turning point in the investigation didn't come from high-tech surveillance or undercover operations, it came from courage. The victims themselves, many of them children, found the strength to come forward despite unimaginable fear, deep trauma, and language barriers. Their bravery broke open the case. During extensive FBI interviews, these young survivors recounted harrowing details that revealed the inner workings of the network. They described how they were enticed with false promises: education, honest work, a chance at a better life, only to find themselves trapped in a nightmare of forced labor and sexual exploitation. Their every move was controlled, their wages stolen, and their identities stripped away. Violence and threats of deportation kept them silent, until they could no longer bear it. Their testimonies became the foundation of the federal case. With remarkable clarity, the victims identified their handlers, described transport routes, pinpointed safe houses, and even named high-level coordinators who managed the operation from afar. This unprecedented level of cooperation provided investigators with the intelligence they needed to dismantle the network, piece by piece. FBI victim specialists played a crucial role in this process, using trauma-informed techniques to ensure survivors felt safe enough to speak. These interviews not only protected the children's emotional well-being, but also uncovered how deeply intertwined the trafficking ring was with the drug trade. Some victims had been coerced into smuggling narcotics, forced to participate in crimes that further tightened the traffickers' Control. What began as a Wisconsin case soon revealed itself as a regional and even national operation. Victims reported being moved from state to state, hundreds of miles apart, proving that this was no isolated ring but part of a vast, interconnected system of exploitation. And yet, amid all the horror, the victims' courage changed everything. Their voices turned the tide. They became the most powerful force against those who had enslaved them, transforming from victims into agents of justice. On September 25, 2025, that justice arrived. In a massive show of coordination, 6 federal agencies, ICE Homeland Security Investigations, the FBI, U.S. Customs and Border Protection, the U.S. Marshals Service, the DEA, and the IRS executed simultaneous raids across Manitowoc County and beyond. This was not simply an enforcement action. It was a declaration that no child, no matter where they live, will be forgotten or left unprotected. The operation resulted in 24 arrests and exposed deep links between local traffickers and international organized crime. Years of hidden abuse, exploitation, and smuggling were dismantled in a single coordinated strike. But perhaps the most important outcome was not the arrests or the evidence recovered. It was the restoration of hope. For the victims who had endured years of silence, justice had finally arrived. For a community blindsided by the revelation of what had been hiding in its midst, safety and trust could begin to rebuild. And for the traffickers who believed the heartland would shield their crimes, Wisconsin's response sent an unmistakable message. America's children are protected everywhere, and those who seek to exploit them will face the full and unrelenting force of justice. The operation in Wisconsin revealed far more than a series of arrests. It exposed a hidden system of exploitation that had quietly taken root in America's heartland. Each suspect taken into custody represented another vital piece of a sprawling network designed to control, conceal, and profit from the suffering of others. These arrests weren't simply about taking criminals off the streets. They were about dismantling an entire infrastructure built to abuse and enslave vulnerable children. By removing each link in that chain, federal agents didn't just deliver justice, they crippled the traffickers' ability to operate and, in doing so, gave survivors their first real chance at healing. Just weeks before the Wisconsin crackdown, another massive operation underscored the scope of America's fight against child exploitation. In Tampa, Florida, U.S. Marshals led a record-breaking 2-week mission that rescued 60 children and arrested 8 individuals accused of selling them into sexual slavery. The operation spanned 3 counties: Hillsborough, Pinellas, and Pasco, and reached into motels and hidden locations where traffickers believed no one would find them. But the rescue was only the beginning. For many of these children, the trauma ran deep. Years of abuse, manipulation, and, in some cases, addiction. At the Children's Home Network in Tampa, staff and volunteers welcomed them into safety for the first time in years. Deborah Charles, one of the supervisors, described it as the first step, a brief moment of calm where the children could rest, eat, and begin to feel human again. Behind every closed door was a child learning what freedom felt like. Among those helping them heal was Stephanie Turner, herself a survivor of 13 years of trafficking. Now an advocate and mentor, Turner understands the long road ahead. The fear, the hunger, the uncertainty, it never leaves you right away, she said, but now they finally have safety. They finally have a chance. Federal victim service teams immediately provided medical care, trauma counseling, housing, and legal assistance, vital tools, not only for recovery but for restoring trust and stability after years of manipulation and control. The effects of these combined operations rippled far beyond Wisconsin and Florida. They sent a powerful message across rural America. Child trafficking isn't confined to big cities or border towns. It can happen anywhere in the quietest communities. The intelligence gathered during the Wisconsin arrests continues to fuel new investigations across multiple states. Every phone number, every name, every coded message is being traced, building a clearer picture of the networks that profit from human suffering. For the children whose bravery set this investigation in motion, the arrests mean more than headlines, they mean validation. They spoke, and they were believed. Their courage brought the full weight of federal justice down upon their abusers, and prevented countless future victims from being trapped in the same nightmare. Officials now call this operation a turning point in America's war against child exploitation, a clear demonstration that when agencies like ICE, the FBI, CBP, the U.S. Marshals Service, and the IRS unite, no trafficker is beyond reach, and no community is too small to matter. The Wisconsin case has become a new model for combating trafficking in rural America, one that recognizes the unique ways these crimes hide in small-town life, and the equally powerful need for a strong, coordinated response. But beyond the tactics and arrests lies a deeper message for every victim still trapped in silence. You are not forgotten. Your suffering is not invisible, and when you find the courage to speak, America's most powerful institutions will stand beside you. The fight against child exploitation is far from over, but in the fields and farmlands of Wisconsin, a powerful truth has emerged. Justice can reach anywhere, and hope can begin again.